Hey, Trendsetters. I am here tonight with the one and only Rufus Mahon, and he's here with Reginald Grant and of Legal Shield. And they're going to be talking to us tonight about insurance. I think that is very important for us to get this information. I sat in on one of their Zooms and it was so dope, y'all. I learned a lot and it really gave me some clarity as far as why we all need insurance. And at this time, this is very important. This is a very important time for us to have insurance. This is not something that we need to play around with, but I'm going to digress and I'm going to let Rufus Mahon jump on real quick and introduce Legal Shield. Welcome, 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 Mr. Mahon. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. Well, hello, Trendsetters. How's everybody doing tonight? It's definitely a pleasure to be on this platform. One of the things we have to realize is that this day and time that we are in, life can happen to you at any single point. You can walk down the street and life happens to you. You can be on the job and life happens to you. You can be you're driving in your car and life happens. But now the question is, when life happens to you, what do you have in place, or what do you have in in position to help you when life starts lifing? And most of the times, people are reactionary instead of proaction. What does that mean? Okay, I'll wait till something happens and then do something versus have something in place just for the time when something does happen. And this is the benefit of Legal Shield, right? Legal Shield is a benefit for everybody, every race, every creed, every color, every age. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. There is something there that can help you when life starts happening. Can you imagine that you are being accused of something, and even though you're innocent, and it's 1 or 2 in the morning and nobody's around? Who are you gonna call? You have nobody to call. Well, in Legal Shield, you have somebody 24/7, 365, and I have my brother Reginald Gant here, okay, that's going to help us to understand the ins and outs, the nuances, because it's so powerful, it's so impactful that you need to hear more about it. You need to hear how this can help you at the time that we are living in now, with so much pressure coming in, with so much this, with so much that. Things are changing at a rapid pace, and you need to make sure that you have something legal on your side that's going to help you. And Legal Shield is the venue that I find out that can help not only me, but my family, but my children, can help anybody that's a part of it. Because, like I said before, when life starts happening, you need to be able to have the right people in place to help you get through that time. So my brother Reginald Gant, can you help us to understand a little further on concerning Legal Shield, please?
Absolutely. So, Mr. Mahon and Ms. Washington, first and foremost, before I even get started, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight to educate those who listen to Trendsetters Talks. You two are highly respected individuals in your individual spaces, and I just hold you both in high regard and high esteem. So I have to say thank you before I get started.
Thank you.
But in regards to Legal Shield, I really appreciate the opportunity because this has been something that's been a part of my household, my family for the last 20 years, right? We're now in 2025. My wife has been a Legal Shield member since 2005. And then when we met and we first started to date, a number of years ago, this was one of the first things that she shared with me. I was a young dad at the time. I had a teenage daughter, single parent, and she educated me on the 3 Ps, and I just want to do that education, and I want to pass it forward, Ms. Washington, to your audience, because I strongly feel that everybody who's watching, you deserve the 3 Ps. And what exactly are the 3 Ps? Number one, peace of mind. We live in a world right now that's very uncertain, right? Those who are working in federal government right now, they are experiencing it the worst right now. They do not have peace of mind. Number two is protection. right? So as Mr. Mahon said, when life happens, right? When life, because it's going to do that. It's never a matter of if anything is going to happen to you or your loved ones. It's just a matter of when. So when the when occurs, what protection do you have in place? And then that third P is a plan, right? So Legal Shield provides all three of the P's: peace of mind, protection, and it's a plan in place for when life happens, and let's just be transparent, right? Over these next 4 years, the way that we used to do life here in this country is going to be radically different than we've ever done it before. So that means that this world is changing. Some people will look at it like it's a good thing. Some people will look at it like it's not such a good thing. Everybody's entitled to their own perspective. But for our community, and when I say our, I'm talking about individuals who are Black and brown, right? Us as minorities, life as we know it is going to be different over these next 4 years. And if I could just put 4 words to the mission of Legal Shield, I hope that this resonates with the hearts of everybody who's listening, because those 4 words would be equal access to justice, right?
Mm.
Now, we live in a country, where growing up back in the day, we used to have to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And we used to have to stand up, and we used to have to put our hands over our hearts, right? If you had a hat on, you would have to remove your hat. And the last 4 words of the Pledge of Allegiance, right, for anybody who can remember, always said and still says to this day, and justice for all. But let's be crystal clear. We live in a country where justice is not for all, right? We've been taught and we've been trained, as we can see, just by how current events are unfolding right now, that the color of justice has never really been black. It's never really been white. It's always been green. And what do I mean by that? That means that you get just as much justice as you can afford, right? The wealthy have access to justice, whereas those who are not wealthy, those who are barely making it, those who live below or at the poverty line, that and justice for all, it doesn't apply to them. So the mission behind Legal Shield is to provide equal access to justice. And we've been doing that across this country. And when I say across this country, I'm talking about North America, because this service, right, this peace of mind, this protection, this plan, it spans the United States and into certain provinces in Canada. So we're talking about for the last, 50 plus years, since 1972, Legal Shield has been protecting and empowering and educating individuals and families and businesses on how to get equal access to justice. I proudly stand behind this company because we have a vision that I can get with, right? And that vision is to provide equal access to the liberty, equality, opportunity, and justice that every human being deserves. And I love that about our founder, right? He wants equal access and justice and opportunity and equality for everybody. So it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter your educational level, it doesn't matter where you grew up, your zip code, none of that matters, because at the end of the day, we should all be looking at one another as brothers and sisters. We're all a part of humanity. And whether you are a billionaire or whether you are a homeless man on the street, everyone deserves dignity. For one, everybody deserves to be treated like a human being, and everybody deserves to have access to their rights when their rights are being violated. So that's what I love about this company. And this company, if I could describe it as a disruptive innovator.
Mm.
So it's kind of like Amazon. So back in the day, we used to go to the mall, right? We used to have to hop in the car and go to the mall and shop, buy what you wanted, hop in the car, come back, fight traffic, all of that. Amazon came along and said, you know what, we're going to make life simpler. We're going to make life easier. We're going to make life more affordable for you as the consumer. Because now what can we do with Amazon? We can order something from the comfort of our cell phone. We don't even have to leave the house. And depending upon what we're getting, we can get it the same day, right? So they made it comfortable. They made it convenient. They made it simpler. And that's what we want, as consumers. We want simple, we want fast, we want quick, but we also want it right. And Legal Shield came around and they did that in the legal industry. So when we did the research a number of years ago, we found that the average attorney, you know, and this is average because, you know, some states more, some states less. The average attorney is charging anywhere between $300 to $500 per hour, right? So let's just park it right there in the middle at 400. If the average attorney is charging $400 per hour, Ms. Washington, but the average American is only earning about $20 per hour, that means that the average American would literally have to work more than 20 hours because, mind you, we're taxed. The average American would have to work more than 20 hours to have a 1 hour conversation with somebody if their rights were violated. And our founder saw that that was an issue in our country. Here we have a system that's supposed to provide us a service. We're supposed to have access to it. We're supposed to have justice because that's what the Pledge of Allegiance stands for. But the average working American can't afford it. You know, we did the research, we dug a little deeper. Right now, there are about 150 plus million people that are somewhere between the poverty line and making like up to like $250,000, $300,000, right? About 150 million Americans. So we found that the average person can't afford $400 per hour. But what I love about Legal Shield, what I love about the integrity of the company, is that our founder saw a way where we could do what we call shared economy, right? Where we can have group buying power and we can make the services available that we need for a low flat monthly fee. So instead of the $300, $400, $500 per hour that an attorney will charge if you need them, you can subscribe like a subscription-based service, like how we subscribe to Amazon Prime and Hulu and Disney Plus and the NFL Network. You can subscribe to Legal Shield and protect you and your family for anywhere between $30, $40, or $50 per month. And I love that, right? Because we're talking about monthly. We're talking about $30, $40, or $50 per month. And that will cover the member if they have a spouse or a partner, and that will cover up to 10 children. So it could be a family as large as 12, and they'll get access to Legal Shield and all of what Legal Shield has to offer, right? So what are some of the things that you get, right, for that $30, $40, $50 a month? The number one thing that we get, which is what the majority of our members take advantage of, is unlimited consultation, right? So when I ask somebody, you know, what exactly does unlimited consultation mean to you? You know, I just use a visual. I say, think about going to a buffet, right? An all you can eat buffet, right? How much can you eat at the all you can eat buffet? That's up to you, right? If you wanted to open the bad boy up and close it down, the buffet is all you can eat. You can be the first person there and the last one to leave. It's whatever you want, how much of it you want, as often as you want, because it's all you can eat. And that's what I love about Legal Shield. We have unlimited consultation. So that means that if I have an issue today, if I have 5 issues tomorrow, if I have 10 issues next week, I now have access to pick up the phone or schedule a phone call and have them call me directly, and we can talk about all of those issues, and I don't have to worry about paying $300, $400, $500 per hour, right? And the average working American, right? Because right now we protect proudly close to 5 million Americans. The average American can afford $30, $40, or $50 per month flat fee, but they can't pick that phone up. It gets really heavy at $300, $400, $500 per hour, right? So unlimited consultation is one of the things that they do.
I got a
But
question about that, right?
absolutely.
Let me jump in and ask this question. Consultation as far as what? What kind of legal services do you guys provide? Is it
Great
a
question, Ms.
blanket?
Washington. Great question. So what they do is they match you with a provider law firm that will cover the state in which you live. And
Okay.
guess what, Ms. Washington? Our law firms cover all areas of law, right? So it doesn't matter what the personal issue is. Legal Shield and their attorneys, they cover all areas of law. If it's something that's a little bit more specialized and it's something that they may not be able to dig into the way that they want, on deck, they also have a whole entire list of referral attorneys as well. So there is no area of law that's left out. You know, so it could be a question, you know, as simple as my neighbor's dog barks every night at midnight and it drives me crazy. What are my rights? All the way up to, you know what? I'm a illegal immigrant, you know, like what do I have access to? And you'd be surprised how many people, you know, are facing that right now, picking
Yes.
up this service, because Legal Shield stands on the premise that every human being deserves access to our services, right? So unlimited consultation on an unlimited number of personal legal matters. And then this is just a quick sidebar. If there's anybody listening and you're a small business owner, we have small business plans that offer business protection as well, right? So a small business owner, guess what? They have legal needs too, except for the only difference between a small business owner and a large business is that they don't have the large business budget. They don't have the large business influx, but they face the same challenges that businesses face. So their flat monthly fees for the small business owner, we're talking about $49, $99, or $169 a month, right? Less than the cost of your cell phone bill, by the way, giving you access to an attorney that will keep you in compliance and out of the courtroom. And I challenge any business owner every time that I sit down with them. You think about your hardest working employee. Think about how hard they work, right? 40 hours a week. At the end of the month, will your hardest working employee work for you and you able to stroke them a check for $169? Absolutely not, right? And I know some pretty hardworking people. Even my Hispanic brothers and sisters, they're not going to work that hard for $169 for the month, right? But Legal Shield for a small business owner will work for you tirelessly, $169. And not only will they make sure that you maintain your business, but they will make sure that they see it grow to the next level. So something else that you get, right, for that $30, $40, $50 a month, letters and phone calls made on your behalf. And this one is huge, right? Because how many of us know that a letter or phone call coming from our attorney is so much more powerful than a letter or phone call coming from us? When we call the company, right, what do we get? We get customer service, right? When our law firm picks up the phone and they call on our behalf, they don't get customer service. They go straight to the legal department. Sometimes if it's a small business, they go straight to the owner. Because guess what? The owner, they don't want that static, right? But you and I, as consumers, we get customer service. So customer service can pass us around, right? We got to play the let me speak to your manager game, but not our law firm. So let me just share a quick story about how powerful letters and phone calls are. We had one of our members, him and his wife, they decided to purchase a lot down here in the state of Maryland, and where I'm residing right now. And they decided to purchase that lot because the builders promised that they were going to be building a brand new gated community. And the only reason they purchased the lot is because they wanted to raise their family in this brand new gated community. So somewhere during the construction process, the builders decided that they didn't want to gate it any longer. So they let everybody know. And our member decided to keep the lot, but they decided not to build because they wanted to live in the gated community. So they bought another lot somewhere and had their home built somewhere else from the ground up. So mind you, they still have this lot, right? So one day, a couple of months later, they get a bill in the mail for $10,000. And I don't know about you, Miss Washington or Mr. Mahon, but if I get a bill in the mail for 10 stacks, I'm like, what's going on here?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
So after they read it, they realized that it was the homeowners association
Yes.
charging them $10,000, right, for their lot. So I remember, he jumped on the phone. He was like, "Hey, I don't know the last time that you drove by, but it's still dirt out there. Like there's no home there." And they was like, "We understand that, but per your homeowners association agreement, right? It's time for you to kick in." But he was like, "Kick into what? Like we don't even live there." But guess what? There were 7 other homes that were there that were erected. They weren't occupied. And the whole community was supposed to be about 50 or 60 homes. So our member was like, that don't sound right to me, So what did they do? They picked up the phone and they called Legal Shield. Legal Shield asked for all of the documents. Let me see the homeowners association. Let me see any paperwork that you have, and they did the research. And that's what I love about access, right? We don't know certain things, but you can put professionals to work. Legal Shield called our member back and said, "Hey, we see a clause in here that says that they can only start charging homeowners association fees if 25 or more % of the homes are erected and occupied. You can only start charging when the 25% are up and folks are moved in. Now, at this time, 7 homes were erected, but nobody was living in, and the community was 50 or 60 homes. So are we at 25%?
No.
Absolutely not. So our member said, hey, you know what? I want you to make a phone call directly to the builder. And that's exactly the power that we have. Our provider law firm called the builder. The builder called our member back and said, hey, we heard from your attorney. You don't have to worry about that 10,000. We're going to go ahead and make that disappear. But guess what? Those other 6 or 7 homes, what do you think they did with that $10,000 bill when it came in the mail?
They paid.
They paid it, right?
They paid
And
it.
that's why I love Legal Shield, because it gives us what? Those 3 P's again. Peace of mind, protection, and the plan. We don't always know what's happening, but we can make a phone call and we can have our lawyer, our attorney do the research. They can find out what's really going on, and they will always move in our best interest. So on top of the letters and phone calls, on top of the consultation, they do document reviews, right? So you can send them anything that you're asked to sign. So, now we get to be like Oprah. We get to be like Tyler Perry. You think you could just hand Oprah a contract and expect Oprah to sign that contract right there on the spot? Never, right? So why are we any different? The only difference between us and Oprah is that she just has a couple of more dollars in the bank right now than we do, right?
Right.
That's the only, she's still a regular person, right? But wealthy people, they move different. They don't sign anything. They have their counsel review it. So now we have the same power. I don't know about you, but there have been many a times when somebody's presented something, and what do, right? We act like we reading it. We act like we understand what's going on, and then what do we do seconds later? We put our little Hancock on there and keep going. We don't know what we're signing. But what I've learned in business is that the bold print will give it, but the fine print is what takes it away from
right.
you.
That's
right.
right.
So Legal Shield now gives you access to send those documents in. Up to 25 pages or less, they'll review anything. And it doesn't matter if it's your home loan agreement, if it's your landlord tenant agreement. It doesn't matter if you're entering into business. It doesn't matter if you're about to, get married, whatever it is. It does not matter. 25 pages or less, you can send it in. They'll take a look at it to make sure that it's in your best interest. For those of us that are listening right now and you're about to buy your very first home or an investment property, they'll take a look at that entire document to make sure that nobody took advantage of you. We always have to come to the table sometimes with closing fees and all kinds of fees, and some people get certain commissions on this. They do all of the research, because it's never about how much money you make. It's always about what can you keep in your pocket. So they do all of that. If you have a tenant agreement, they'll read all of that. But Mr. Mahon, one of the things that's really important for you and I, being men of the ministry, right? Men of faith, is that now we get to share this. We get to go all across the country, Miss Washington. And now we get to have a conversation in our community about something that 9 out of 10 of our families don't have. And that's last wills, and estate plans.
Yes.
Just by being a member of Legal Shield, you automatically complimentary get your living will, your last will and testament, your medical, and your financial directives prepared automatically. And Legal Shield say, you know what, we'll do one better, not only for you as the member, but if you have a spouse or a significant other. Notice I said or, not and, right? Because if you have a spouse and a significant other, you're going to need them documents for real. Right? Somebody going to get a hold of you, right? But if you have a spouse or a significant other, now we're talking about, you think about this. The average will outside of Legal Shield, we're talking about anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 per person. We're talking about now Legal Shield giving you a will, your will, your last will, your medical directives, your power of attorney. They're giving you everything that you need for $30, $40, or $50 a month. It's never been heard of in our community, right? So that's complimentary. From the very first day that you would subscribe to our services. I don't know about you, but when I subscribed to Netflix, they never gave me anything that would protect my entire family. The only thing they ever promised me was that I would be entertained. And
That's why we
entertainment is
got you on.
nice.
That's why we got you on, so that more people will get involved and, sign up. This, at these rates, how can you beat it? Really, how can you beat it?
We
It's
spend
no.
more on pizza and Popeye's chicken.
My
Right.
mother has the service. The
Tell us
last
about that, Mr. Mahon.
the will. My mother was going through some hard times, and we wasn't sure what was going to happen to her. So during that time, I said, "Ma, what do you have in place?" She said, "I have nothing." I said, "Well, Mom, we got to get something in place for you." So I went and I took a subscription out just for her for the will, and we got it done, and that's been going on 5 years now. And for the space for this, how much it take out? $20 a month. I don't even see. I don't even miss it.
Yeah.
But for that $20 a month, she's covered in case anything happened. She's good.
Yeah.
And I love that they took everything the way it's set up. It's already informed. You just have to fill it out, put what you want, send it back in, and they do the rest. Simple,
So
simple, simple,
painless.
simple, simple.
Yeah. And it's really, it's changing the game in our community, because on average, 7 out of 10 Americans don't have one. In our community, is 9 out of 10 Americans. But I'm so glad to be on platforms like this, Ms. Washington, because now we get to actually sing this out to the masses. And the reason why it's 9 out of 10 is because let's be transparent, right? And our communities growing up, we don't talk about these things. And if they were talked about, many of our families, right, many of our parents, grandparents, great grands, they were just working for survival, right? So there wasn't any extra money in the budget for such services. But now that we have a price point that, pretty much everybody can afford, now we're starting to make headway in our community and have these educational conversations and sessions. Because why can't we protect, right, what's been given to us? I talk to so many people, and it's so interesting, the mindset that some of us have still. Because one of the first things that people will say was, I don't have nothing. You know what I mean? Like when I die, I don't have anything. But guess what? The person that dies and say they don't have something, somebody gonna fight over your flat screen TV. I done seen, this is real talk. I done seen siblings not speak for 10, 20, 30 years because somebody wanted the mink coat. Somebody wanted the china closet, right? Somebody wanted the silverware. So here it is. You're saying that you have absolutely nothing. Somebody want that watch that you had that you didn't think was important. And because you didn't designate while you were alive who was to get what, families are now falling out, not speaking generationally, by the way.
Right.
Right? Because we failed to do what we had to do. So you get the wills, your estate plans, all of that. For anybody that's driving, right, you get 2 traffic ticket assistance, covered per year. So moving violations, things of that nature, they'll take care of that. My wife got pulled over the other night, by accident. She was driving and she didn't have her headlights on. She was so nervous she didn't know what to do. So she called me. I'm like, hey, I'm not your first call. I didn't train you. You call Legal Shield first. Right? Luckily she just got off with a warning. But what I love about this service is that, guess what? One of the services that I'll get to in a second, if you're ever being questioned, detained, or arrested, you pull out your phone and you hit that button, you can have somebody on the phone representing you, talking for you within anywhere between 7 to 15 seconds. And that's powerful. I'm about to get to that in a few moments. So if anybody's listening, you're watching right now, and maybe because of circumstances you have to change your last name, maybe you have to adopt a child, maybe you are facing an uncontested divorce, right? Those things, once you subscribe to our service, you can get those things taken care of for pennies on the dollar as well. Right? We tell people all the time, if you've already been separated legally 10, 20, 30 years, you enroll in Legal Shield, you just have to be enrolled for 180 days. So we're talking about 6 more months, right? And then on that 181st day, just go ahead and solidify that divorce, right? If that's what you really want to do, right? So you don't have to pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. We're talking about, a low flat monthly fee for about 6 months. And you can now legally adopt, anybody. With noticing that a lot of grandparents now are having to adopt their grandchildren, right? Aunties and uncles are having to adopt, right, their nieces and nephews because folks are passing away. You know, folks are shunning the responsibility, whatever the situation is. You know, the heart and integrity of our company is that we want to make sure that we pretty much protect the family as many different ways as possible. We even have prenup and postnup, right? So if you're thinking about that, you know, before you get married or on the back end of your marriage, all of that, you have the service for 180 days. You can jump in and take advantage of that. If the IRS is ever going to audit you, you know, that's a big one right there. We had one of our members, she was audited. She walked in on the IRS over 60,000, 60K, right? 60K. And you know, my first thought when I heard that, I was like, well, how much money are you making if you owe the IRS 60, right? But what I love about that, she called the law firm. She got to speak directly to a tax attorney. The tax attorney said, we're going to come to the audit with you. So this is what we don't know, right? Again, we don't know our rights. And if you don't know your rights, it's just as good as you don't have any. So she takes her tax attorney herself and she goes into the audit. And the person on the other side of the table began to ask her questions. This is the power of access, Ms. Washington and Mr. Mahon. The first question that was asked to our member, her tax attorney said, my client won't be answering that one. The next question, my client won't be answering that one either. The next question won't be answering that one either. That went back and forth, back and forth. She went in on $60,000. She walked out on less than $6,000. Wow. She was so happy, so ecstatic. She cut the check on the spot, got the IRS off her back. Guess what? You and I walk into that. You ask us a question. What are we going to do? We're going to answer it because we don't know what we don't know.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So IRS audit assistance, but then the most critical, the most important part of the service is the 24/7 emergency access. You download the Legal Shield mobile app to your smartphone, right? Because let's be real, we don't go anywhere without this gadget. Everybody has a smartphone. Our children have it. Our parents have it, right? Everybody in America has a smartphone. So you subscribe to our service, you download the Legal Shield app to your smartphone, and you have what we call 24/7 emergency access. That means it does not matter what time of the day or night. If you are ever being questioned, detained, or arrested, you or anybody that's covered under your plan can pull out your cell phone, hit that button, and have somebody represent you. I just want to share a quick story, and then I'm going to pause right there, Ms. Washington, in case you have any questions, Mr. Mahon, if you want to jump in. But this is how powerful and why it's needed in our Black and brown community. So I grew up here in Baltimore, right? I'm a Baltimore City native. I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore, so much so that statistically, I'm not even supposed to be here, right? The neighborhood in which I grew up in, the zip code in which I grew up in, was one of the most dangerous ones in Baltimore. And I'm sure for those of us outside of, you know, Maryland, you've heard about Baltimore, right? So I was in it. I was in the thick of it. So we had a member. She sent her son to the best of the best private schools here in Maryland. But it got a time for him to go to college. He decided that he wanted to be a Morehouse man, right? Got picked up, got a full scholarship. Morehouse is in Georgia. So she picked up our service. You know, somebody had educated her the right way. She saw the value and she downloaded the app on her son's phone, you know, and she said, hey, son, you know, I know you're about to go to college. I know college people do what they do, you know, because I was there, you know, back in my heyday. But there's two things that I want you to do. If you ever get in trouble, if you ever have a need, the very first thing I want you to do is call your law firm, call your Legal Shield. The second thing I want you to do is call me, because I'm still going to be here in Maryland and you're in Georgia. And there is no fast way to get to Georgia from Maryland. There is no fast way. Even the fastest flight is going to take a couple hours. Absolutely. Right? So him and his buddies, they went out on to a party on a Friday night, right? That's typical. We used to do that in college all the time. I used to go to Morgan State University, by the way, right? Shout out to my HBCUs. So we used to party every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We party, right? So I remember son, he went to a party. He caught a ride back, him and his buddies, with somebody that they didn't go to the party with. So as they're traveling down 85 in Georgia, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they get pulled over. Officer asks for license and registration. The driver begins to turn around to his friends and tell them that the car that they all in is not his car. Right? Find time to tell me. We're now being pulled over by the police. Now you're telling us the car that we're in is not yours. Police ask everybody to get out. Everybody's sitting on the side of the highway. Police search the automobile. They find a loaded handgun under the driver's seat. So now what do we have? 5 African-American young men who look like us pulled over in the wee hours of the morning with a loaded handgun in a car that's not registered to anybody in that car. We have a problem. Everybody's being handcuffed at this point, right? Our member son, remember what his mom said. And he said, to the officer, my mom said that if I ever got in trouble, if I ever had a need, that I can call my attorney. Officer got real rude, real snide, and called him out of his name, called him a boy. Boy, if you can get somebody on the phone 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, be my guest. But he allowed him the opportunity. Young man pulled out a cell phone, hit the button, had a lawyer on the phone instantly. This is the power of access, and this is why everybody in our community needs it, Ms. Washington. Everybody. This is why we need to educate our families, our nieces, our nephews, our church members, our neighbors, right? Those who we grocery shop with, does not matter. His friends, they were handcuffed. They were taken to the station. They were mugshotted. They were fingerprinted. And they had to spend Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night in jail. All of them were released on Tuesday. Our member's son who had access, because we're talking about the 3 Ps, peace of mind, protection, and the plan for when life happens. He didn't go out planning to get locked up that night. But when life happens, what do you have in place? He was able to go down to the station unhandcuffed. He was able to sign a few pieces of paper. He was released on the spot. And once I heard that story from our member, that's when I officially locked in and said, this is something that everybody needs. Because again, we go back to our mission. 4 words. What's our mission? Equal access to justice.
Wow.
And for me, Ms. Washington and Mr. Mahon, in that situation, justice was served. Because we have a young man who was innocent, who didn't do anything, who was able to walk away, not only without having to get fingerprinted and be put into the system, but he was able to walk away with his life. How many times have we seen in our community a traffic stop? We could be jogging in our own community, right? And be gunned down. We could be walking through our own community and be gunned down. And here it was, equal access to justice prevailed. And I locked in, and I decided that I will forever scream the mission of Legal Shield. And that's why I partner with Mr. Mahon and Ms. Washington. That's why we love to be on platforms like this, because the education and the awareness is needed. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking right now in case anybody else wants to jump in, because I could talk about this forever.
I want to jump in real quick before you jump on, Mr. Mahon, and say, this was definitely one of the reasons why I got you on this platform, because this is such great, great, great information. This is something that we can't pass over. I really want our audience to take a look at this, and it's good because we're recording it, right? So they can play it over as many times, so they can have other members of their families and they can have their spouses take a look at it at another time, and they don't have to, try to quote you verbatim like I would try to and mess everything up, right? I'm taking my notes. I'm going to do my best, but they got the video, and this is such very important, especially with our young Black men, even with our young girls that's out there now. There's situations and circumstances and occurrences that they're out of their control. Right. And we do want them to come home, and we don't want them to go through the system. And some of our men, unfortunately, I've learned, have additional charges thrown on them. It ends up, it starts off with a mistake in identity or a mistake of circumstances. And next thing you know, they have some trumped up charges that's brought against them because they don't have the means, and people to step in and intervene. So this was really one of the reasons why I wanted people, at what's the rate again? At $30, $40, $50? This is something that we spend, ordering food, like you said. You understand them? One meal, like the cliche, what was it? Feed the kids one meal a day. One meal could really save your life in certain circumstances. And I had told Mr. Mahon that I was even interested in it, but now the small business owners stuff, we talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. So
You know,
I'll sit back and let you come on and finish your thing. I just wanted to say that.
something, because I grew up here in Brooklyn, Flatbush, and um, many times I've been stopped, um, made to lie down on the floor, been searched in the middle of winter because they thought I was somebody else.
Yeah.
And had I been educated to this back then, a lot of the trouble could have been avoided, because a mistaken identity can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
It got so bad that I teach my sons now, don't never go outside without a wallet, because you
Yes.
can be mistaken for anything. But now that we have this at our hand, we can say, hey, make sure you have your phone when you go outside to take out the garbage, uh, go outside to get fresh air. Make sure you have this here, because at the fingertip, you have somebody that could represent you, that could speak the language that they will respect, because we don't have the legal lingo, and they know that. But when they're dealing with others that have the legal lingo, they respect that, because they understand that I can't pull the wool over your eyes, because you know just as much or maybe even more than that. So this is a great opportunity for the young men now, okay, to say, hey, you know what? I need to be covered, because driving, going anywhere. You can be stopped at a traffic stop. You could be stopped on the train. You could be stopped going to the store. You could look like somebody, and all of a sudden, here you are in handcuffs in the back of the car going somewhere, right? But now that we have this service now that says, hey, okay, even if you are mistaken identity, we will make sure that they know who you are by the time we finish. And that's a wonderful thing. So if there are any single mothers that are out there with young men, listen, this is a great opportunity now, because in the time we live in, something could jump off anytime. Yeah. So when it jumps off, what do you have in place for the jump off? Here we go. Okay, you have opportunity now to say, hey, I may be at work. If it go down, I got somebody that can protect my child. I may be upstairs, and he may be around the corner. If it happens, he got to protect them. You never know when he or she, they have somebody to protect them. Just because you're in the crowd, you could be singled out. I have protection now, because why? I have a law firm in the back of my pocket, that wherever I go, it goes with me, and that's my protection. So if you're watching, for the space of 30, 40, $50, you have protection 24/7, 365. How many can say that I can get somebody on Christmas, on New Year's Eve? Okay, you got somebody 24/7, 365. I don't care if you go wherever, right? I got somebody there. Why? Because at my fingertips, I have power. I have power at my fingertips. So I just want to let you know that if you are watching, think about that. Okay, wherever I go, my phone is power. There's power in my phone. When I press that app, I got somebody that's guaranteed to pick up. Guaranteed. Mr. Gant, back to your hands, sir.
Yeah, so it's just two more things that I just want to drive home. Number one, I understand that we live in a world where many people aren't looking to add an extra expense, right? We get that, right? So one of the amazing things about this company is that we have what we call a member perks program. So our member perks program is that the company has partnership with well over 400 companies that offer our members thousands of dollars in discounts. So places that we already spend money, your Costco's, your T-Mobile's, your Samsung's, right? Your budget rental car, things that you already spend money on. Legal Shield already has partnerships in place, excuse me, with some of these companies. So for example, how does that work? My wife and I used to pay $90 a month for our home phone and our internet. And that was with Verizon and Fios at the time. We found out that Verizon and Legal Shield had a discount program. So I picked up the phone and I inquired about it. That $90 a month that we were paying, because we were now Legal Shield members, we could get exactly what we had for $45 a month. Mm-hmm. So what did we do? We took advantage of that $45 a month. So what just happened in that exchange, Ms. Washington? We went from paying $90 for something to $45 for something. What did we just free up? $45 a month. We were already used to spending $90. Now we're only spending $45. Guess what? Now we picked up the legal plan and we didn't have to come out of our pocket.
Right.
Here's another way that we use it, right? My wife and I, we have 5 children, but 4 still at home. We have 4 boys at home right now. So we're a family of 6 in the house. We're going to go to the movies anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Movie tickets down here in Maryland for AMC theaters are about $15 per person. Through Legal Shield, we're going to go to the movies anyway. We pay $9 a person. We're saving $6 per ticket times a family of 6. We're saving $36. Did I just save enough by going to the movies, which is what we're going to do anyway, to pick up a Legal Shield membership? Absolutely. Those are just 2 different examples. Excuse me, I don't know what happened. Something got on my throat. Right? So we understand that there is a concern that folks don't want an extra bill. So we always eliminate that excuse by introducing you to a program that's going to allow you to save money in places that you're already spending money, so that you can pick up the Legal Shield membership, the peace of mind, the protection, and the plan in place through your savings, right? So you never have to add on to. It's already built into the budget because you're already spending X amount of dollars and we've reduced that. So in that difference, you insert your Legal Shield. And the last thing, we understand that we live in the world right now where everybody needs a side gig. Let's be crystal clear. It's scary if you have 100% of your eggs in one basket, i.e. a job, right? We live in a day and time where no job is stable any longer. Private sector, and now as we can see, federal government no longer has stability. So that means you have to diversify yourself. Why do you think so many people are doing DoorDash? Why are so many people doing Uber and Lyft, right? Why are so many people doing Grubhub? They need the extra money, right? Why are people picking up a second job and a third job? And guess what? 2 or 3 jobs, man. That's for 2 and 3 people, right? That's 2 jobs, 3 jobs are for 2 and 3 people. But we understand that we live in a world where people need an extra. Right. What I love about this amazing opportunity, we're having a conversation right now, Ms. Washington, right? On Zoom. But this opportunity is open for anybody who wants to participate. Our company is always looking for more hands on deck to help us spread our mission. So for anybody who wants to start a side hustle working from home, educating folks the same way that Mr. Mahon and I are doing today on this Zoom, you can partner with Legal Shield in business. You can partner with us in business, and you will get trained up on how to educate folks the right way and begin to build a business from the comfort of your cell phone, from the comfort of your home. So even if you did your Grubhubs and your DoorDashes, you can still come home after that and do a little bit of Legal Shield, because it's perfect for anybody that wants to work spare time, part-time, or full-time. You get in where you fit in. So not only are we doing well, but Legal Shield also provides a financial opportunity to allow people to do good financially while doing well. And that's why my wife and I have been a part of this for the last 20 years. We have 3 sons in private school right now, soon to be 4 in the fall, right? We do Legal Shield in the slithers of time, but we do so much of it. We've built such an incredible book of business that it takes care of us. And what I love about it is that this business opportunity is willable. So we can put it in our will that when something happens to my wife or both of us, that our children will now inherit our business, so that we can talk about generational wealth always going forward. We love to throw around the word generational wealth in our community, but this is a real live way to build something that will grow beyond you and in spite of you. So you can get the members perks program. You can pick up the peace of mind protection and plan. And for those of you that are really wanting or needing extra income, speak to Mr. Mahon or myself. We can get you trained up. We can get you started. And guess what, Miss Washington? We're talking about a one-time fee, less than $50.
Wow. Wow.
One-time fee of less. That's less than the cost of a bad date. And you can't get that money back from that bad date.
Where can the audience reach you? Where can they reach Mr. Mahon? You guys, give me your contact
Absolutely.
information.
So I'm so glad that you said that. So you see how his name is spelled on the screen, Rufus
Yes.
Mahon?
Yes.
This is his website. I want you to write this down. If you can put this, like when the Zoom goes live, if you could put this, maybe post it somewhere. The website is Rufus Mahon, that's all one word,
Okay.
.legal shield, LEGAL
Mm-hmm.
SHIELD
Mm-hmm.
associate.com. So it's just his name. It's Rufus Mahon .legalshieldassociate.com. When you go to that website, you'll be able to educate yourself. You'll be able to read. You'll be able to watch videos. You'll be able to contact Mr. Mahon directly.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
But
And we love it. We love it.
Smiling, Heidi.
I'm just so glad that you guys took the time out to jump on and educate our audience. I mean, it was so packed with so much information. And, this is, like I said, when I heard it, I called Mr. Mahon up right away. I don't even think that you got off the Zoom yet. And I
No,
shot
I was.
you a text. I was like, nah, you guys gotta come on. This stuff is so meaty, and I was just really appreciated that you guys took the time. And even with our audience here at Trendsetters, I really want to express the importance of insurance, you guys. I mean, they touched on so many things. I love the fact that you shared with us that experience with the young man in Georgia. We all know how many of our young men get pulled over. Again, I can't say it enough, because that I have a soft spot, right? So I have, I have children of my own, I have extended family. So we all have to understand the importance of that button, like you said, right? Once you could press the button, and our kids get profiled. My sons have told me stories about getting pulled over, getting, handcuffed, getting put down, getting, misidentified.
Right.
It's called Driving While Black.
And it's called living while Black.
Yeah, that part.
Unfortunately, because I got a 15-year-old that, had an encounter because he fit the description of somebody that they were looking for. Thank God things didn't, go left, but they could have.
Yes. We always fit the description for some reason, I've noticed.
We all,
yeah.
And, I again, this is what jarred me. This is what stuck out to me. And this is what made it that much more important, especially with the work that we do with Trendsetters. And we speak with so many mothers that have lost kids to, circumstances. We just don't want people in our Black and brown communities to continue not to have the necessary resources that they need, like Legal Shield.
Yes, knowledge is free, but ignorance costs.
We're gonna be nice, Bishop. We're gonna be nice. To tell you honestly, I really think that it's something like Mr. Gant said earlier. We just didn't have those conversations.
Yes. That's
You
true.
understand what I'm saying? We just didn't have those conversations. So, and there are a lot of conversation that we need to have, especially at a time like this with this administration, right? So we got
Mhm.
platforms like this, so we can
Yes.
have these kind of conversations, and so that we can share the resources and the wealth that we have amongst one another. So we can't continue to make the same decisions that we've been making because of our lack of knowledge, right? So now there's no excuse. You know, you guys on Trendsetters, you know, we spreading the news. We spreading the news. You guys, Trendsetters, please spread the news. Spread the news to your families, your friends. Spread the news. Get it out there because come on now, this is something that I really think that everybody should take advantage of. For $50 a month, you really can't go wrong, guys. So please, please spread awareness. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on. Thank you, Mr. Mahone. I'm not accustomed to calling you Mr. Mahone. This is my bishop, you guys. This is my bishop, you know. He'll be back to talk to us another time with his bishop stuff, you know. But right now, and Mr. Gant, thank you again. Thank you again for coming on our
Thank
program.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
All right, Trendsetters, we out. Take care. Another time, another time, another time.